When Starfield initially released, I was not the biggest hater. I thought a lot of the companion conversations were actually really well written. I thought that the game did have quite a lot of features that I was a big fan of, but at the end of the day, it is a Bethesda game. It launched pretty buggy and glitchy and missing some features I would have loved to see. But now that the first expansion, Shattered Space, has finally launched, virtually nobody is playing it, and the few people who decided to load it up gave it mostly negative reviews. This is a That Park Place article. It says Bethesda's first expansion, Shattered Space, for its sci-fi RPG sandbox game Starfield, received mostly negative reviews on Steam as the game's peak player count has declined by 95% in a little over a year since the game released. Now, it is super important to point out that with single-player games, people come and people go, right? It's not going to constantly hold this big player count because it's single player. People play it, they move on, eventually they come back for DLCs, but in this case, it doesn't seem like a lot of people returned, as it's got a 12,721 player count currently. The 24-hour peak is 15,438, when the all-time peak at launch was 330,000 people. So this DLC did not get anyone else back in game. Now, for me, I personally was actually planning on playing this and on streaming it, but I downloaded everything, and then I found out that I lost everything I had in the game. My save is still there, but my outposts were gone. My cargo hold was gone. My inventory was gone. I don't even have my gun anymore, so I couldn't even go out and do combat. I have to go to a planet. I have to buy a new gun. I was furious, and this is the problem with Bethesda games. I think their titles are typically really great, but they are basically unplayable without mods, and you cannot rely on them to ever be better. And that's why a lot of people, I think, decided not to go back to Starfield for this DLC, because at the end of the day, no matter what they add, it doesn't mean that it makes the quality any better. And I know over the year they have tried to add some things like the vehicles. That's cool. That should have still been in at launch. That's a feature we had been asking for. It shouldn't have taken them a year to add it. And it does not help the fact that this is a $30 expansion. The base game is not even worth $70. Never mind adding a $30 expansion on top of that. And clearly a lot of other people agree, given the fact that it is being raked across the coals and is sitting at a mostly negative on Steam. People are saying things like Starfield and now Shattered Space feels like a game made by a bunch of retired in-place managers doing the bare minimum to meet requirements, directing a bunch of outsourced labor to create the most mediocre product possible. It's an incredibly lazy game all around. No new features, no fixes to the fact that this game is still a boring mess, not even an attempt to fix the game's core issues, and they released this for $40 instead. What a joke. It is $30, it's not $40, but still overpriced nonetheless. The writing for this game is just awful. The DLC is supposed to take place on the religious zealot's homeland. You'd think the story would be more dark, but every time something evil is about to go down, the NPCs be like, gee golly, outsider, you don't want to do that. It would be a no-no. Get the hell out of here with the corny-ass writing. It's a rated M game, which is a major problem, right? When you have a game and you have a higher age rating, you should take risks. You should be adding these mature themes because you already have the mature rating. The people in the video game industry don't know what we as consumers want, and they don't know how to write good stories anymore. This is what happens when you at the end of the day, are hiring activists and you're not hiring genuinely good storytellers. So right now, Starfield's first expansion is a complete and utter disaster. Virtually nobody is playing it. It's receiving mostly negative reviews on Steam, and I can't say that I'm very shocked, and I don't see a way that they can come back from this. So unless they're releasing Elder Scrolls 6 sometime soon, it looks like their big new franchise is a complete and utter bust for them. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.